What's going on, everybody? Doc from Average Gamer Guys back yet again, and we're back into the Halo Wars 2 content. As you can see, Awakening the Nightmare is now available. We've taken a little bit of a break from this game, to be honest with you, so I want to do a quick video. I'm going to talk through my opinions. I'm going to talk through everything that we're getting in this latest game edition. I want to call it a DLC because that's exactly what it is, although it wasn't in the DLC package. But I want to talk through exactly what we're given and give my opinion on, is it worth it? Is it worth the $19.99 that we are paying to get this, and what all comes in it? Those are the questions I'm going to answer for you, and hopefully this will be helpful for you. So quick video, and let's jump right into this. So as you know, Awakening the Nightmare, we're actually getting quite a bit of stuff. So up front, just so you know, we're getting Terminus Firefight mode, which is pretty cool. Super excited to get in and try that out. We have 5 new campaign missions, which we'll take a look at here pretty quickly, and then a bevy of just other things that they've added in. Again, it is now available. It's a 22 gigabyte download addition to the current game, so it's a pretty good download. I believe you can actually queue the download up without actually buying it. I think there is a game side update as well that you'll need to complete. So if you're considering it, at least boot up your Halo Wars 2, get it updated, and then you'll be ready to go from there. Additionally, kind of not necessarily a surprise, but something I don't think they mentioned a whole lot. We do get 2 new maps, multiplayer maps, which is pretty cool, so we'll take just a quick glance at that. And then in addition, with Awakening the Nightmare, we also do get 2 new leaders. It is worth noting those 2 new multiplayer maps are free for everybody. There's actually also a new spectator mode as well, which is also free for everybody. So again, I know myself and Sloth have taken a little bit of a break from this game. Honestly, the competitive scene on it kind of died out a little bit. I think this will definitely be one thing that rejuvenates it, gets people playing it, and I think the cooperative side of it, we did have Blitz Firefight, but that did get kind of old pretty quick because it was the same waves over and over again. I think with Terminus Firefight, we're going to see the co-op side of it really is going to get that rejuvenation, and a lot of people are going to be playing it. I did get a chance to jump into this. Haven't had a whole lot of chance, haven't even played any of the campaign missions yet, but did get a chance to jump into, play some Terminus Firefight, and had quite a bit of fun. So definitely looking forward to that. So real quick, we're taking a look just to confirm again here. We've got 5 Awakening the Nightmare missions, obviously only 1 unlocked for me right now. We'll be playing through this. Plenty of optional and bonus objectives, plenty of campaign logs to grab. So those of you that have been a Halo Wars 2 fan and a fan of the channel for a while know that I'm going to do complete walkthroughs and complete guides for all 5 of these missions. So this is a good time for me to put the plug in. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel if you do want to see those walkthroughs and need some help. Like I said, I will show all campaign logs, we'll show all bonus and optional objectives as well as the best ways to complete these missions on Legendary, because we do get quite a few new achievements that we'll talk through here later on in the video, associated with the campaign specifically, as well as just with the DLC in general. My initial thoughts on this, the fact that we get 5 campaign missions, is actually pretty good when you consider the full campaign was 12. We had 2 that was part of the DLC. So kind of interesting, you know, that we get 5 more at a $20 price tag. The missions for me, honestly, the campaign was some more of the fun that I had with the game. I really enjoyed it. So that alone right there is pretty much worth it for me. I think that's a pretty good price point. But it's pretty interesting. We essentially get almost half of a new campaign that we got in the original one. So we do get the 2 new missions. We do get the 2 new maps. Again, these are free for everybody. We won't jump and take a look at them, but the cover arts do look pretty cool. We get a 1v1 and a 2v2 map, and then a 1v1 through 1v3 map. So some good variety for multiplayer, pretty interestingly. Additionally, saw in the multiplayer and Blitz, We did get 2v2 to be open, which if you're not familiar is where all card levels are set at 6. I think that's kind of interesting. So that's just something to note for the playlist moving forward. So real quick, we'll go ahead and we'll take a look at the cards and the new leaders. And as always, again, if you're a fan of the channel, know that we're going to do a complete coverage of these new DLC leaders. We'll also throw out some good Blitz deck guides for you. At least give our thoughts again. The competitive side of things have kind of slowed down, but that's what we'll do. So just scan through. Here's some of the new cards. We get some mines, we get some grenadiers, we get an infused engineer, which actually has gel burst ability, which is interesting because it now has some offensive capability. We get invigorating frenzy, which does healing for a brief time. We get cataclysm, which drops gels that fire and deal damage. We get infusion wake, essentially does the same thing. It seems that our leader here, Voridus, I believe, is very much focused on this gel substance and infusion, as well as shock and shield. So to see a terror rate, this is actually probably one of the cooler cards that we're going to see. Shock and shield on that, and then Voridus here, pretty cool. Really like the art, real neat. Again, shock and shield on a leader is definitely something that I like to see. Also Salt of the Earth, where he essentially has some AoE damage from these pools that he makes. Interestingly enough, if you caught that, yet another leader, yet another card that we're calling in that's not good against air and can't even hit it actually. So we'll definitely see how that all boils out. I didn't get a chance to watch too much of the reveal, a lot of this, so it'll be interesting to test some of these out, see how all that gel infusion stuff works, and how that kind of sets up, and really what the effects of it are over the course of the battlefield. So it'll be interesting. So jumping in here to our second leader, we'll take a look. We've got Ultra Mines, which again is essentially a reskin of the other mines, which I thought was kind of interesting. But they seem like they deal pretty good damage. Enduring Will heals units over a long duration of time, which is kind of interesting to be able to move them in and out of there. You get Rain of Fire. This is, Plasma Beams. This actually does rotate in a circle, kind of like a kind of a sporadic pattern. It's pretty good AoE. So interestingly enough, we do get the Wraith Invader, which has the ability to garrison infantry units, which is pretty cool. And definitely kind of a variation of the Wraith, which I do like. I think that's pretty neat, and obviously still has the shield. Probably one of the more interesting units that we're going to see here. We do get the Ironclad Blister back, which is really awesome. I was super happy to see this. I think this is one of those things where when you talk about strategies, especially when you talk about teaming up, going 2v2s and 3v3s, that card definitely has its playability for a lot of the things that make blisterbacks kind of weak or easy to target rather. So we do have the Mega Turret as well with the Rush ability, which allows us, as you see, to summon a Mega Turret, and that thing does some pretty good damage. At least it did in Terminus Firefight, so it's pretty cool. We get the Lich Vanguard, which is pretty neat actually. I like the ability on this. You call this unit in, and it actually gives rush to any other cards that you call in the area. The only problem I have with that, for the sole fact that it costs 200 energy, but we'll cover that and we'll see how things go. And then Pavium, obviously, here's our leader and our leader card. Pretty neat. I've always been a fan of Reflect and Shield on a leader, especially if they have a decent amount of health, because all that Reflect damage is just pushing back to your target. And then speaking of targets, Target Designator is actually a really interesting ability. It allows him and the units around him to get a damage buff to a specific target that he uses it on. So pretty interesting to see that. I do think this is probably, of the two leaders, going to be the one that I'll maybe favor, but I definitely don't want to rule them out. Interestingly enough, we do get some variation. I guess my initial thoughts here on these two leaders is just that I feel like they're a little too similar. I do think that they missed out on an opportunity to really kind of break the mold. Again, we already kind of have these brute style leaders. I do like some of the cards they've included. Like I said, I'm a big fan of the blister back with guard. I think that's pretty neat. Some of the other cards, again, you know, varying it up as far as the abilities and stuff like that, I'm totally cool with that. But I think the fact that the two of them are so similar is kind of just the one detriment to this add-on. I do think, again, they missed out on an opportunity to take and make something pretty neat, and really kind of showcase, you know, they could have gotten away from canon. They could have gone either silly again, or I think a lot of people were asking for the flood. I think that would have been an opportunity for them. So that's just kind of my thoughts on those two leaders, but it is cool. We do obviously get two new leaders with a bunch of new units to get out there, a bunch of new strategies to try. Speaking of new things, as you can see right here, we get 37 new achievements. That is a ton, absolute ton. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on these, but I do want to cover. We essentially get what we would normally expect with any new DLC leader. So we get a couple specific to them, whether it be for units, whether it be using their ability, just getting match wins, so on and so forth. We do see all of those. Additionally, we see a ton of stuff and a ton of achievements linked to the campaign. So a lot of it just completing the campaign missions the first time, completing them on heroic or legendary, completing them with a gold medal, and getting all optional bonus objectives. Again, we will be doing coverage on all of those, so stay tuned. If you're like me, I'm going to achievement hunt these probably as quickly as I can, actually, while also still trying to play some Destiny and the Rocket League update that's coming out here pretty soon. We'll definitely cover all of those. Additionally, with a lot of these new achievements, we also get a pretty good smattering of achievements for Terminus Firefight. Obviously, that's the new mode, so they want to have a little bit of enticement for those of us that are completionists out there to get out and play this mode a couple of times. I will say the achievements, when I first read them, especially for the score, they seemed a little challenging. I will definitely say I ran through my first solo game, and I was able to knock out quite a few of them, and the score modifiers definitely are helpful. They're not nearly as tough as some of the previous firefight modes that we've had, harken back to like Halo ODST and things like that. So just definitely all achievable, good achievements, good smattering that covers a lot of the different realms of the game, whether it be multiplayer, whether it be Terminus Firefight, or the campaign. And like I said, stay tuned to the channel. We'll have walkthroughs and guides for all that stuff here coming up. So that's really it. We get Terminus Firefight, as you see. We get a bunch of new achievements, 2 new leaders, some new multiplayer maps, and a spectator mode, and then 5 new campaign missions. So all in all, like I said, I think it's worth it. I think it's absolutely worth it. I think the campaign missions alone, honestly, would have probably been worth it for me had it just been that and maybe Terminus Firefight. I do think we get a little bit of a disservice with the 2 new leaders, quote unquote, just for the sole fact is that they seem a little too familiar or too comparable for each of them. I think it would have been neat to maybe see a Banished and a UNSC leader, or for them to just go a completely different direction. So I think that might be the only place they missed the mark. But as far as content, as far as what you're getting for your $20, I definitely do think this is worth it. I think if you're a fan like me and Sloth have been for this game, you know, even way prior to its release, I think this is an add-on that I don't have any problem paying for. I know there's some strong mixed feelings when this was first announced, but I think for what we're getting, you really do get your value and your money's worth. Like I said, I've had a ton of fun playing through Terminus Firefight. I can't wait to jump in with Sloth and do some co-op with that. And like I said, I also can't wait to jump in and work through these campaign missions. I think, again, that's going to provide a lot of time, and I'm really hoping that it'll rejuvenate this game for some folks at least. I think, again, this DLC release is pretty well timed, and it comes at a good time where the game was probably losing quite a bit of steam, so hopefully this will help pick it back up. and yeah, and we'll get back in and we'll do some blitz, and we'll have a lot of other guides and stuff coming out. So that's just kind of my thoughts. That's kind of how Awakening the Nightmare breaks down and what you can expect for the $20 price tag. So let me know down in the comments below if you don't have it, if you do have it. Hopefully this was helpful for you and you got a chance to see all what's included, so you can make a good informed decision. And if you do have it, let me know what you do like, or let me know what you don't like. I'm really curious, haven't tested a lot with the leaders, so I'll be interested to see how they kind of fold out and how the multiplayer blitz aspect of things works with the inclusion of these two new leaders, as well as some of the balancing stuff that they did. So Doc from Average Gamer, guys, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me, and again, hopefully this was helpful for you if you're trying to make that decision on whether you should pick Awakening the Nightmare up or not. So again, thanks, appreciate it, and we'll catch you in the next video.